All right, I think we are live on the air now. And welcome to Freelance Duck Hunting. This is I believe, our 7th live stream. We're going to do this one today, and I've got Drake Valley from Drake Valley Outdoors with me, and also Clayton from GT Outdoors is going to be joining us. I think he's running about 5 minutes late. So they're going to be joining us in just a little bit, or he's going to be joining us in a little bit. And next week, we have I'm going to get all the FDH guys together, and I'm going to try to see if I can put together some clips from this year, and we kind of maybe go through some of the clips and talk about some of our favorite moments. And I think that that's going to wrap up this section of live streams. I think we're going to hold off for a while. I don't know if we might do some during fishing season. We definitely still have a lot of videos that are coming out. I'm going to do fishing videos and camping videos and all sorts of stuff. So we're not going away anywhere. We're going to be here doing lots of videos. And so, head on over to Patreon. I'll put the link in the description. There's lots of stuff going on over there. I've been posting quite a bit lately. But certainly, even though this is Freelance Duck Hunting, do not forget about us in the off season, because we got lots of videos. In fact, I did lots of videos last off season that didn't get a lot of views, and some of them are pretty good. Elijah and I went out looking for Native American artifacts. We're probably gonna do that again this year. We got some turkey hunts, snow goose hunting. So we got lots of stuff on the off season. Drake, what are you going to be doing on the off season? Are you going to be putting out any videos at all, or what are your plans?
Yeah, my plans are still to do some hunting related videos, some reviews or something like that. And then some tips and tricks. I know I've had some guys ask how we do our Texas rigs, and I'm going to be changing those for this next year. So I figure I'll do a video and show how those work and how we put them together. And just some little small videos like that, maybe like a what's in my blind bag type video. And then I'm also going to be trying to do some fishing videos. It's never something I've never done before, but before this year I had never done hunting videos. So going to give it a shot. I got some rigs for my GoPro and stuff. So we'll see how that works out. But my plan is to put out some fishing videos, and then just whatever else. If we do anything outdoor related, maybe if we do some camping trips or something, video some of that. I thought about maybe trying some cooking stuff too, both related to waterfowl hunting as far as cooking ducks and geese, but then also just like barbecue stuff, because I'm a real big barbecuer. We have ribs and wings and stuff like that all the time. So I've thought about trying something like that, but not really sure. But I'm definitely going to be posting videos throughout the year.
Yeah, well, you certainly should have enough meat in your freezer at this point to last you with cooking videos from now until the start of next season. You kind of want to talk about, I know you had an amazing last week to your season, and some of the pictures I've seen, you guys were just cleaning them up. I mean, you guys finished strong. You should be fully satisfied, I think, with the end of the season.
Yeah, we're definitely happy.
Tell us about how those hunts and kind of what birds you took, and just anything you want to talk about how you guys ended out your season.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, we had a great year. If you follow my Instagram, so you see all the pictures I post on there from all of our hunts. And I have one of those videos that's up now, and then the other 4 will be coming out here soon. But like with you, we had a month off of our season, and then we had basically 9 days to get back on some ducks, and we all took a little bit of time off from work so that we could get in some extra hunts, and we're obviously glad we did. I totaled it up, and I shot, I think, just over 60 birds for the 9 days. I think we hunted 5 or 6 times between all of us. Not all of us were there for every hunt, but we were shooting mostly mallards and mostly mallard drakes, and then we got a pintail and then some widgeons in there, and some redheads. So we got a good mix. And I think they got some mergansers one day too. So it was definitely a great last week.
Yeah, the pictures and the video is a good video. So of course, the one you have out, you guys were having problems landing those birds exactly how you wanted to. And those shots did not look that easy. I know they're always closer than they look like, I think you mentioned they were at about 20, 25, I believe, or maybe that
Yeah.
was Clayton that said that in his. But how far were those out? And also, do you cut out the stuff you guys are missing, or do you just never miss?
Well, we miss plenty of times, even on the ones where we shoot stuff. I think in that video, I think I may have left out one shot that Kyle took that he missed, and it was, if they're in front of the camera and we shoot and we miss, I usually put it in. The only time I really cut him out is like I was saying, he shot at one that was flying over us, and there was not really anything to see other than just a shot, you know. So, and really you couldn't see anything because of the way he was angled. You would have just heard the shot basically. So I cut that out, but I definitely missed on one of those. It was pretty close. For the most part, we had them 25, I think 30 yards. We had some. Kyle had one that landed about 35, 40 probably, and he shot that with one shot anyways, which I was kind of surprised about. But I had one at, I think 15, maybe 20 yards, and I missed my first two shots at it. So that made me a little bit nervous. And then in the next video that comes out, I can't remember how it all pieces together. I'll have to watch back through it. But I had a horrible day shooting. I had tons of shots. I mean, we could have been limited out way earlier if I would have been doing a lot better shooting. But
So do you kind of chronicle that in the video at all and show that?
Again, in that video, it was those first two videos, and maybe even the third video, we were really having trouble getting them to come in right in front of the decoys. We were shooting, for some reason they wanted to land in the decoys, but they didn't want to land where we wanted them to land. They kept on landing on the outside edges. And I would sit there and I'd adjust the camera to try and set up for that angle, and then they'd land on the other side of the decoys. So I'd pretty much just put the camera facing right in the middle. But I did say, I kind of went over my highs and lows of that day. And one of the lows being that I shot poorly, and then the high was that I shot my first widgeon that day, and then I got to see Ryan shot a pintail drake, and I've never seen one of those in person, so that was another high. But
did you happen to watch GT Outdoors' last hunt?
Yes, I did. Yep.
I love when he shoots that pintail, and I'm not saying he teared up, but he was obviously experiencing a pretty emotional feel in that moment.
Yeah.
I love that. That was my favorite part of any video I've ever seen of his. I thought that was awesome.
Yep. You probably would have seen me like that too if I would have got me a pintail this year. I was really trying. And on my solo hunt that I went on that last week, I had 5 mallard drakes and I lost one. And I had 2 pintail drakes working me at one time. And if I could have got them in 10 yards closer, I would have taken a shot at them. And I was very, very close to taking a shot at them one of the times that they passed by. And I decided to wait and see if they would circle around one more time and come closer. And then that was their last pass, basically. They didn't circle and come back around. So
Pintails are extremely finicky about coming into the decoy spread. Extremely finicky.
And I feel like I remember reading that they're shy of spinners. I feel like I remember reading that somewhere. And
yeah. I don't know.
I realized that after the hunt, and I probably should have tried to turn off the spinner, but I don't know. Maybe someone in chat knows more about that.
I know we had a day at Cheyenne Bottoms, my dad and I did one time, and there wasn't that many birds flying, but literally everything that we saw almost came right and hovered over the spinners. And we had pintails. I mean, we shot our 2 pintails each that day. Or maybe it might have even been 1 pintail you could shoot at that time. But we had pintails just hovering. And it's pretty rare. The other time I took Nevin out on, Nevin is my middle son. He's 13 this year. I took him out on his first hunt that he was actually shooting and trying to shoot a duck. And he had shot a green-winged teal. And so I felt all happy and good and everything. And I had my gun with me because it wasn't just youth hunt. But So this group of about 6 pintail drakes, well, they weren't all drakes, 6 pintails came hovering right down to the decoys. And I was supposed to be giving Nevin first shot and everything, right? And he still brings this up. I ended up shooting a double on it. It's so rare to get a nice flock of decoys hovering right over. I just couldn't sit there and let him take the first shot.
Yeah, we had some times like that this year. Not really giving first shot, but I was trying to sit back and record. And it was, I can't remember which episode it was, but I was sitting behind trying to do a little bit of filming and stuff, and it's hard to do with the GoPro because it just makes everything look really far away. They're just at 5 feet standing behind somebody. It makes it horrible. But I'd be sitting there recording, and Ryan would turn around. He's like, "You gotta come up here and shoot on this pass," because we just have like 20 or 30 mallards coming in over us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just hard to hold the camera and record. You gotta just put it down and go try and take a shot.
Yeah, that's for sure. This year, last year I really tried to. We tried to use the GoPro head mount. We don't have a GoPro. We have like a not as good knockoff of it, but we were trying to get all our kill shots with an action camera, and even the ones we got just don't look clear and crisp like yours do at all. So that's why this year I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put the camera down and we're going to take turns filming. And I've been really surprised the fact that I've enjoyed it. It's been holding the camera is actually really fun. It's really fun. And Dan enjoys it. No one ever complains about having to do it. It's a lot more fun than you think. Yeah.
Most of the time we're just hunting with 3 people. And most of the time this year was actually just 2 of us. It was mainly me and Kyle, and then we would get Ryan joining us on a couple hunts. Well, he joined us quite a few times, but on the days where it didn't look like we might not shoot something, it was usually just me and Kyle. Ryan had to work a lot of the days that we would go out and hunt. So for those days, it's hard for me to just film. Because I don't know how many times we're going to get a pass on ducks. And if we got a decent-sized group working, I don't want to just say, hey, Kyle, shoot at all those. And then if he shoots one or misses all of them, it's like, well, there went a whole pass that we couldn't have shot at. So on days like that, I just had to leave it on the tripod. And really for the GoPro, that's better than better than trying to hold it, from what I found.
Yeah, well, the way you do it is it's better than anyone else I've ever seen trying to film with the GoPro. I've said that before, and I continue to say it. It's just your shots are clearer. The way you do it on a fixed mount and the settings you have or whatever, I don't know. But to me, it just looks clearer and crisper and a better film than what most people do.
I think the biggest thing that it comes down to is having it on the tripod. The GoPro autofocuses for the focal level and then also for light. So if you have it on your head and you're sitting behind the blind and it's looking right at the back of the blind, and then all of a sudden you pop up and the light hits it, even if the sun's not out in front of you, for some reason it tries to focus and it kind of freaks out a little bit.
And shakiness too, the shakiness of it.
Yeah, that too. GoPros, when they move, they do get a lot of, or any camera really, whenever it moves, but GoPros especially, whenever they move, they kind of get that blurriness, especially in low light.
Yeah. Hey, Clayton, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Is everything working?
Everything seems to be working. This is
Cool.
from GT Outdoors. He was on a live stream with us a couple weeks ago, and he, like Drake, has kind of finished his season out strong. Clayton, we've been talking about kind of the ends of our season. Well, Drake's talked about his. There's not that much to talk about with mine because I didn't do very well. But I don't know if you saw that Drake was just slaughtering them for like 6 days.
Yeah, he did better than I did.
Yeah, well, and I was also talking about your last video and how much I really enjoyed your last video, especially the part where you get really how you're the feel. You did such an awesome job of broadcasting the emotions that you were going through. when you shot that pintail. And that's the kind of stuff, to me, at least as a viewer, that brings me back for more. Like when I can feel how you're feeling and see it in your eyes, I love that part. That's your best part of your video. I think that's the best stuff you've ever done, I think.
Yeah, like, and you made a comment on it about how you go through and edit the video down like more. And I wish I could have like put that at the beginning, because I have a feeling most of the audience is already gone by that point in the video.
Have you checked your retention analytics on that to see?
No, I haven't had a chance to yet.
I've lost. Oh, there's video back. Yeah, you know, as far as editing out, what I do on mine is the last edit that I do. Well, I've got an idea in mind. On a good hunt where we're shooting birds, I want my videos to come between 15 and 19 minutes. I don't want it to hit that 20-minute mark. And then if it's not a very good hunt, then I want it to come between 7 and 11.
Yeah.
That's kind of my idea of where I want it to be. And so my last edit, I go through and I just think of like I'm someone with massive ADHD, and I say, what little dull spots here might someone with ADHD click away on? Because I mean, with these YouTube viewers, most of them are between, at least on mine, are between 15 and 34. That's kind of the range, the age range. And so I'm always thinking, is there any little 5-second snippets that I can get out of there that aren't necessary? Or sometimes it's as much as a 20-second snippet. Because, you know, on YouTube, it's so easy to click the button and move from video to video. And I think that video you did, you could have done the same thing and done it in 15 minutes. I really.
Yeah. I might go back to just see if I can take some stuff out still and just re-upload it. But because I know like the whole like moving the decoys around or walking around and stuff, I can cut all that out. But
but I think some of that's good.
Yeah, I kind of like seeing you move the decoys and stuff, and especially whenever you explain it, because it lets you know like why you're doing it. It's probably just a thing where, yeah, maybe cut out some of the walking or something up to the decoys, something like that.
And if you just go through it with that ADHD in mind, you won't have to wonder what to cut out. You'll see it.
That's why I can't do it, because my ADD starts kicking in. I'm like, it's taking too long. I gotta move on to something else.
But that might not be a bad idea, but it's a great video, and you obviously had a great day. And
yeah.
Do you use a GoPro, Clayton?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you ever use the highlight feature?
What do you mean?
Where's my note? There's a button on the side. I think it's like just the settings button, the one with the little wrench on it or whatever. While it's recording, if you hit that, it will tag a highlight. And then if you use the GoPro app or whatever on your computer, whenever you upload them, it will actually show you highlights wherever you tagged a highlight. So every single time we have a flock come in, I try and hit that tag. So whenever I go through an edit, I can just skip through real fast and be like, okay, here's where that highlight is, and then I know.
Do you have the 3 or the 4 or 5? I guess.
I have the 4, I believe.
The 4, okay. I don't, because the one on the side on the 3 is the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi button on the 3s.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
So I don't know if it does the same thing or not.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the GoPros other than the one that I have, and even then, I don't really know a whole lot.
I know how to hit the record button. Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about is and I'll start off, is if you guys have ideas of changes you want to make for next year, or kind of, do you see yourselves doing anything different next year? Do you want to add anything? You want to subtract anything? And what I want to add is a GoPro on a tripod, like you guys do. I don't know if Clayton, I think you have yours on your head, right?
Sometimes I put it on a pole sometimes too, just stick it behind me.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that, and I want Drake's setup. I want to try to get that look that he's getting, in addition to still video with the camera that I've got. Because the camera I've got, I think you can get a lot better close-ups, and although different topic. That camera's starting to falter on the auto shake, and also the autofocus is starting to really, after 1 year, have problems. But I want to go to those 2 cameras and maybe even a third GoPro, because I've got a couple. Like I said, they're not GoPros, but they're kickoffs, kind of in the ground in front of us, facing us, to get shots of us actually shooting. So those are the 3 things I'm looking to upgrade or change next year going forward. What about you? I don't know whichever one you wants to start. Have either of you guys thought about that kind of thing?
Yeah, are you talking about mainly just as far as filming goes?
Anything at all.
Because I have a lot of stuff that I want to change.
Oh, just anything at all. Anything at all.
I know for sure I want to add another camera, whether it's one like yours or like a DSLR or something like that. I know that there's kind of trade-offs between the two, and I haven't really decided which one I want to stick with. I like the DSLR because you can do video with it and then also take really, really good pictures. And I like to do a little bit of photography and stuff like that. And I just do it on my phone now, but I'd like to have a nice camera that I can do that. But I'd like to add at least one more GoPro, and then kind of change the location of where that's at, whether it's out in the decoys kind of like facing back towards us or facing up towards where the ducks are going to be coming in, or I would also like to have one that's in the blind with us, pointing back towards us. Because with having just the tripod behind us, I often miss a lot of our interaction. I try and grab it off a lot if it's within range, that I can just grab it and kind of hold it. But I would still like one up in the front, pointing back at us, like you said. And then I really, really want to try and get a boat this year. I feel like it would make my desire to wake up early and go hunt maybe a little bit higher whenever I don't have to walk half a mile through the water. Like half the time.
What kind of boat are you looking? What kind of boat are you looking for? Like a big one with like a surface drive, or a smaller one, or what are you thinking?
I'm looking for at least a 16-foot, and I think 16 foot's probably my sweet spot range. And then I definitely want some kind of mud motor. I saw one a while back that had it was a good price, and it was like a 1652, I think, and it had a surface drive. And it was a really good price for what it was, but the guy made the surface drive kit himself. So I kind of strayed away from that a little bit, just because I have never owned a boat, and I don't want to. I'm sure the guy knew what he was doing, but I don't want to be the one to find out if he did it right or not, and end up inheriting someone's little project. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. Either probably some kind of mud motor. I would prefer a surface drive, even though they're more expensive, just because I would like to have it double as a fishing boat, with a trolling motor on the front if I can.
Yeah. So you're in the market of actually shopping around and?
Yeah, I'm doing quite a bit of looking. I mean, it's not necessarily something where if I found one tomorrow, I'm going to go out and buy one, but I'm definitely kind of in the browsing stages, like looking every day, trying to see what's out there, their price range, and then doing a lot of research on them. If the right one came along, I would maybe buy it tomorrow. What's out there? That's kind of where I'm at as far as buying one.
Yeah. Clayton, how about you? You have any ideas of things you're going to do different?
The biggest thing is the audio. Like, I actually just got a mic in the mail yesterday, and I did like a little video using it, but it's like a little Bluetooth mic, your lapel or whatever for the GoPro. And the same thing, like Drake was saying, with missing a lot of the, like what goes on in the blind, that GoPro mic is so horrible. It doesn't pick up anything, and then you put it in a case because you're out sitting in the water trying not to ruin it. So you put it in a waterproof case, and it really just doesn't pick up anything. So I got that mic, and hopefully that improves a little bit of something. And I have, like, my brother has a GoPro, and the other guy I go hunting with, Tori, he's got a GoPro, and I've taken them both out before and set them up at different angles. But both times it was like I had my buddy Tori's GoPro on that skunked video, so there was like no point in pulling anything off it because it just sat there and recorded the decoys basically for 6 hours.
That's kind of the hard
like
thing.
using my other camera a lot more too, and doing kind of like what you were talking about last time with the just like switching off shooters if I can get the other guys to switch off.
So those of you watching, I'm here with Valley Outdoors, and you can go to his channel from a link down in the description, and also Clayton from GT Outdoors. Go over and check out their videos. I know Clayton's got a new one out, and Drake's got a new one out, and is going to be having, I think, 4 videos where they did really well coming out soon. And I also want to mention, I don't have this down in the description yet, but come on over and check us out at Patreon, because I'm really looking for those of you that are trying to build your channels. You know, we have lots of good conversation, and it's just a great place to kind of move your channel forward. And as you're trying to gain subscribers and followers on YouTube, just kind of get to know a bunch of different guys. So Clayton and Jake, I think that we should set up next year a hunt together. I think that'd be cool. We could all film it, and you know, that'd be cool to see the 3 different aspects. You know, like that would just be really cool, I think.
Yeah.
One hunt filmed by 3 different guys, and we could all be together, and I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Clayton a whole lot about it, but I mentioned it last time that we were on. I think it was after we went off air, that we should hunt together, because him and I are definitely close. So
Not that I think that's only. I'm not sure exactly where you are, but it's not that far. 2:15. I mean,
yeah,
I need to stay one night, but it's not that far.
Yeah. No, I mean I drive 2 hours sometimes to go to the hunting spot anyway. So
yeah.
So Clayton, are your duck hunting videos all out then? That was your last hunt, and you don't have anything else coming out?
Yeah, unless I can get my buddy that has the goose field. Oh, well, I have a field too, but he has all the decoys, and so if I can get him to get me out a couple more times this year, then. But other than that, that's it.
And Drake, what's the schedule of your videos? When are those coming out?
I'm probably gonna have one come out every Monday until they're all out. So let's see, 4 more Mondays from now would be the last one.
Nice. I look forward to seeing those. I can't wait. And are you done goose hunting?
Me and Kyle are gonna go out Saturday, I think, but I'm not expecting to shoot a whole lot because where we're hunting is really weird. And I referenced it in this last video. It's literally like 1 acre of grass right behind this farmer's house. And we used to have permission, or they used to have permission rather, to hunt the field that's around it. And they have a really nice blind that they built out of some pallets and stuff. And it used to sit right on the fence line, and then they would just set their decoys out in the field. So they would actually be on one farmer's field hunting, and then their decoys would be on another farmer's land. But they don't have permission to hunt that anymore. So now we're just trying to hunt with our decoys right over that one little 1 acre plot of grass. We shot 3 geese out of there one day this year, and apparently some other guys hunt out of there, and they shot 7 one day and 4 another day. So to me, it's crazy that you can even kill stuff over something like that, like a fenced in 1 acre area, but they do it. And we actually had, the time we shot 3, 2 of them were coming into the decoys, and Kyle's went out there a couple of times by himself and just been sitting there on his phone not paying attention, and then you hear honking, and he'd look up and there would be a goose like sitting in the decoys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're not seeing numbers, but it happens.
We've got a couple weeks left, but I don't think I'm going to be going out for those 2 weeks. My wife is pretty much at it with me going out every single weekend. I call this, her name's Beth, and I call this now starts the season of Beth. where anyone calls, I'm like, go, I'll watch the kids. You know, I try to build up all sorts of ways, you know.
Yeah,
so
I'm kind
of hunting hard. I am going to go snow goose hunting at least once, but we're not going to hit the Canadas anymore or anything like that. And I'm taking it down until snow goose.
Yeah, I'm kind of burn out myself a little bit on hunting. I would still go out if I knew we could shoot stuff. But at the same time, that was a brutal week.
That was so tough. You got so tough on all those birds.
Yeah.
The wind burn in the eyes, though, and the wind burn on the skin, and walking out there all the time to pick up so many birds. Your shoulder was probably sore.
And the light reflected off the band and got me in the eye.
Yep.
So I was talking to Drake before we got on the air about how poor a season that we had this year, and it was historically bad. And Clayton, I don't know if you saw, I put up 2 sets of statistics on Patreon.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put those up real quick just so everyone can see them. And now I'm not trying to cry about it. I'm trying not to pout about it. I'm not trying to be a crybaby about it. I think I'm a stats guy, and I'm really into statistics. So I just love breaking down stats and looking at them and comparing them. And it's really quite amazing how historically bad this year was. And so let me put up these stats real quick. Let me make sure I do this right here. They should be up in just a second. I've got them posted. I think I don't see them. They should be up.
I can see the birds per year, like the little one, the 2008. Yeah, your 2008 to 15, and then 20.
Okay, yeah. So I find these stats to be pretty remarkable because we're hunting pretty much the exact same spots we've always hunted. We scouted more than we did this year. There's lots of people shooting plenty of birds. And I've been sitting here trying to come up with, okay, what's going on? What have we done wrong? And I really think it's boiled down to just a string of bad luck. I mean, with the conditions, we should have been shooting more birds. So I have 24 birds less than my last 8-year average, which is almost a bird a hunt less. And the most remarkable statistic is the number of skunks that I had this year. I went back, and since 2008, I averaged 16.5% of my hunts where I don't shoot a single bird. And this year is 47%. 47%. That's 30% higher than an 8-year average. And my average skunks per year is 4.25, and this year I did 10. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable to me.
What's even crazier to me is that your last year, 2015, wasn't as bad in comparison. I mean, as far as the weather goes, 2015 was supposed to be a worse year than this last year.
Yeah, and last year was a really bad year for us, and it was way better than this year. And the weather was worse. I mean, the weather was definitely more conducive this year than last for shooting ducks. And I don't know. It's just like I was telling Drake, the last day Aiden and I went out, we hunted a place where I've shot plenty of limits on, and we were sitting up there and we hunted until 10:30, didn't shoot a bird. There was two guys half a mile from us on the exact same pool that shot 11, 9 mallards and 2 pintails. They picked up at 10:30. We went over and took their place, the exact place they were hunting, sat there from 11 to 5 and didn't even pull the trigger.
Wow.
I mean, when that stuff happens, you just have to okay. I mean, it's just, obviously there's nothing. It's not like birds were working us. They just came off the marsh. The conditions totally changed. So when the guys were hunting in the morning, they kind of had a little ice hole.
Yeah.
And then by the time it was 11:30, things warmed up. There was the whole marsh thawed. But I mean, we didn't hardly even see any ducks. But it's just a crazy, crazy season. It leaves me so hungry, not all sad, but just hungry to get out and
hungry for September.
Yeah. I'm waiting for September. We're normally at this time of year, like Drake's like, I'm tired because it's like, man, you're all filled up. You're like emotionally duck hunting wise, Drake. You are like filled up.
Yeah.
And, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, let's go, let's get him. I gotta go get this done.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm definitely not complaining about our last week, but it was up until that last week. It was like I was just ready to get that last week out of the way, just because I was ready to pack it up for the year and just call it done. So that last week, definitely being able to shoot the birds, it made me want to get up the next day and do it again. If we weren't doing that, I definitely probably wouldn't have hunted that many times, and I would have really been burnt out. But it just got to the point where it's like I'm ready to take a breather, go out, stand on the bank, do a little bit of fishing, and then in about maybe a month, I'll be ready to go again for ducks.
Yeah.
And I'll be saying, is it September yet? Is it September yet?
Have you guys ever went out and decoyed birds in the spring when they come back up north and just watch them?
I haven't. And if I that's kind of one reason why I wanted to get the DSLR camera, because I would really like to do that, go out in the spring, especially to get some of those blue wings as they're coming back up and looking all pretty, and try and get a nice lens and get some pictures of them flying in and things like that. But I haven't done it yet.
I haven't actually tried to decoy birds. I'll go out to there's a park where I take my dog to work with him, and I'll just watch the birds on that pond. And that's like, I don't know. I'll go out there with my call and try and mimic their call or see what they're doing. And I was actually talking to Drake about that on, I think, Instagram. We were talking about our motion decoys. It might have been on your video about the little decoy you got, but I was talking to him about that and watching those ducks and the way those duck butt splashers work, and then going out and watching the ducks, and they look almost identical, like the way they kick up the water behind them. So I was thinking about adding one of those to my decoys next year.
Are you talking about the one that Drake got and did a review on?
We were talking about that one, but I was talking about getting one of the little duck butt splashers that just sits up and sprays the water out the back, like up into the air. I think Mojo makes those or something.
Yeah, they have a couple different styles.
Yeah. No, they have the expensive one that tilts and it goes up and down, but no, yeah, I like to go out and watch them in the off season.
I would suggest going out sometime and just take a dozen decoys and go to a marsh and try to decoy birds in the spring, because you have the place all to yourself. The birds are all plumed out. It's wonderful. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's amazing how well you can decoy birds whenever you're by yourself, even during season.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. That's what my buddy Tori keeps coming out with me, and every time he comes out, we get one or two birds, or we get skunked or something. And he decided to leave early that day. I got that pintail, and as soon as he left, it was like 30 minutes after he left, all of a sudden the birds just started flying like it was the early season. Like they were just dropping into decoys and coming down.
That's how it was on that solo hunt that I did. I haven't posted the video yet. I think that'll be in 2 videos from now, I believe. Maybe 3 videos from now, actually. All week up to that point, it was like working late season ducks. We had guys around us that were working, that were hunting around us and stuff. So the ducks weren't really wanting to work that great, mostly because of those other guys, I believe. Because once a lot of those guys got out of there, that's when we shot our limits. But the afternoon hunt I went on, I was the only person out there from 1 o'clock, I think, is when I got out there, until the time I left. Only person out there. And the ducks, I didn't shoot a single duck that didn't touch the water in front of my decoys. And while I was looking for one that I lost, I had flocks and flocks trying to drop into my decoys. So it's just like night and day difference whenever you're out there by yourself as opposed to other people being out there.
Yeah, it's hunting by yourself is really, I think it's a spiritual event. It's fun. It's great.
Yeah, I don't, when I got that, well, because I said when I got that pintail, it was like when I got my band, and I literally did the same thing. Like I just sat there for like 30 minutes and like took in the moment. But yeah, if my buddy was out there when I got either one of those, it wouldn't have been like that, because I would have been talking to him and be like, yeah, man, all right, yeah, and being excited. But since I was alone, I could just kind of stop and slow down for a second.
Yeah. Yep. It's fun. I haven't done much of it lately, but I went through a period of about 3 years in time where I hunted almost exclusively by myself. I do early teal with my dad before he lived around here and stuff. But once the main bulk of the season started, I probably went on 15, 20 hunts by myself each year for about 3 years. Just Izzy and I, man, I loved it. Loved it.
I'm excited to get my dog out there with me. For when I go out there alone, he can give me company.
That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to see. And your dog is how old again?
He's getting ready to turn 6 months.
Yeah, you should have no problem hunting next September.
Yeah, and he's all of a sudden he turned on to the dummies. He's been doing a lot of retrieves lately. So.
Awesome. Just follow that water dog book. Just word for word. One thing I see people talking about, my dad's mentioned to people on the chat board that we purchased a leaf that I wanted to talk about a little bit. About 3 weeks ago, Corn, whose name is Jeff, he called me, and he's been looking for a lease ever since we started hunting about 5 years ago. We're old friends from way back, and he didn't pick up hunting again until about 5 years ago. So he's been looking for a lease over the past 5 years, and he'll call me and say, check this one out, whatever. And I never really thought that much about it, but he found one that this guy owned this lease, he owned this land, and he just can't hunt anymore. So he's never leased it before. And it's a little marsh that you can flood, and there's a farmer that plants whatever you want him to plant in there. And the price was just, the price seems really cheap compared to what it should be. So Dan, Corn, my dad, and I split that 4 ways. So this is next year season's going to be the first time we ever actually have any private ground to hunt. So we're pretty excited about that. Really
That's
excited.
Cool. I haven't really went out and searched for leases, but it's definitely something where we would like to get something just to have that in our back pocket. If things are constantly being we're able to shoot stuff out of there, yeah, we'd probably be hunting it all the time. But we've looked at maybe some goose leases. It's so hard around here to get permission to hunt geese in fields because we're just getting flooded with outfitters right now. It's almost getting to the point where it's ridiculous. So and they're all paying to hunt. So it's like everybody out here wants you to pay to hunt their land. It's like, I'm getting geese off of your wheat, and you should be paying me to want to hunt it. But there's just so many people that they're like, oh, well, we can make money if we just charge people to come out and hunt it.
Well, this place is almost too good to be true because it's $4,000 split between the 4 of us, and it's about a 36-acre marsh, and we just tell the farmer what we want to plant it. So we're putting millet in it, and then corn along the edges, and then some sunflowers for dove, and we have exclusive rights to it.
Yeah.
So it's about an hour and a half north up by Squaw Creek, which Squaw Creek holds thousands and thousands of birds. And so it'll probably freeze up a little earlier. So teal season in November, we'll hit it hard. And then December, we'll probably hit. And we're still going to hunt public a bunch. But I'm just excited I'm just tired of fighting so many people. And our marshes around here seem to be getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm just tired of fighting people so hard.
So is it big enough out there that you could throw some ice eaters out there and keep the water open in some areas?
We could do that, or we could actually run the pump. We've got access to the pump. We can run the water whenever we want. So we could try running the pump. We could get ice eaters. We won't do that this first year. We might run the pump some, but it's just, I don't know how expensive that's going to be because we have to pay electric. But yeah, it's definitely big enough for that. It's got a kind of a pit blind right in the middle of it with 2 flap down doors, and And so we're really, I made a video of it. I just haven't gotten the video done. I videoed our trip out there where we show it. They had drained it, but it just seems, I think it should be probably a $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 lease in my mind from what I see out there, but we're just thrilled. We will see. It'll be interesting. We'll do it 1 year and see, how we think and go from there.
Yeah, I just saw your dad. He said he saw a video of a guy that clamped a trolling motor onto a little jet sled to use it as a little redneck ice eater. So you guys gotta start off doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Dan hears that. He'll have something.
Oh yeah.
Last year he already took a lawnmower and built some little motor out of it. It worked for one fishing trip.
I watched that video. That video is hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. So that makes me think of the whole series of Can Dan Do It. We're gonna do 4 episodes. I'm starting a new YouTube channel, and it's gonna be called Can Dan Do It. And the 4 episodes are Can Dan float 2-mile stretch of the Missouri River on a homemade raft and make it back to the ramp? That's one. He's going to do one where he tries to make a well in his backyard. He tries to actually dig a well in his backyard. And then another one we're going to go camping. He's going to try to start a fire on his own and build some kind of did you see that episode where he was trying to build some weird little mud wall thing?
Yeah, with the bricks.
Yeah, he's going to try to do something like that except souped up. And then the last one we just decided, I'm really excited about this. Dan's going to go out and try to panhandle $50. But the fines are just going to be need new waterfowl equipment. It's going to be – and I'm going to be across the street or something. I got to get a lapel mic, and I cannot wait. And one idea we decided not to, is he was going to sit down behind a homeless guy, and it was going to be Can Dan out panhandle a homeless person. And then whatever he earned from the money, he would end up giving to the homeless guy. He'd be sitting side by side with a homeless guy, and we figured that might not be PC, so we went away from that. I'm so excited about these videos. I'm telling you, I think they're gonna be hilarious.
Hey, I voted yes for Can Dan build the wall or whatever out of the bricks. So
67% of people voted yes. I knew he wouldn't have enough to do it. He can do it. He just wears out. He gets these grandiose ideas, and he wears out.
That's hilarious.
I told him, I said, if we're going to do this, you can't fail on every single one. You have to be successful some of the time.
Hey, if he's successful digging that well, you can turn that into a how-to video too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that he'll get the oven thing built. I would vote he can do it on that one. He's such a talker, he'll probably be able to panhandle $50, give him a day, I imagine. I don't know about the Missouri River one. I have my questions about that. We're going to go up the river 2 miles, camp out. He's going to have a full morning, from 5 hours to build some raft. And I'll follow him in the boat and video, and he'll have a GoPro strapped to his head.
Yes.
I don't think he'll pull that one off. I don't think he will.
It'll be entertaining though.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really interesting. So those are the first 4 episodes. That's season 1, and we'll go from there. See how that goes.
Is that a this year thing or is that next year?
We're gonna start filming in we'll film April, June, and we'll film them all during that time, and I'll be editing as we go. But I'm gonna be a lot more specific about my editing in this one. So I'm not going to release anything until I have everything filmed and everything edited, so I can put an intro on it that actually has clips of all the 4 things we're doing. I'm going to be a lot more strategic about this one. So that my plan is to release them either July or August, 4 weeks in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my plan. That's my plan. And then from there, we'll just, I don't know. I know that we're going to have a super fun time doing it. And I know that everyone, at least that kind of has a background with him, are going to love to watch it. But I don't, outside of that, who knows?
Oh, I'm sure he'll make it funny enough that all kinds of people are going to love watching it.
I think so too. I think so too.
So if we all get together, go.
Go ahead.
If we all get together, go hunting, Dan has to come.
Okay. I'll make sure he's on. He's fun to. He's
I
fun
got
to,
my buddies watching the videos and stuff now. One of my friends, Ryan, he really likes to watch them. He really likes watching just the way that you do your videos and stuff as compared to other guys. And we were out scouting one day, and we were talking about one of the videos, and how one of them had to pull it up and show the other one what was going on. And it was when Dan was doing the thing with the stove. And we were just sitting there driving, trying to watch geese, and we were all just rolling, watching it.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite video that I've ever made. The whole thing, start to finish, is probably my favorite one. See if there's anything else. We haven't taken any questions. If you guys out there want to ask any questions, go ahead and put them up there now, and we'd be happy to answer those. I know there was something else I was going to say, and I can't think. Oh, we've taken another step forward with the stat tracking website with my developer. So fingers crossed that's going to be done by the start of teal season. And the way that website's going to work is there's going to be, to get on and just log your hunts is going to be totally free. So you can actually get on that and keep track of all your hunts. But if you want to actually have the statistics formulated for you, then that's going to be the paid version. So there's going to be plenty on that website that's free for people that they can get good use out of. And so I've got real high hopes for that too. And I don't know that, hopefully that'll progress to an app at some point. But I'm really going to enjoy having that done. I hope that people flock to that too, because there's nothing out there that I can find that is like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to have that out, because I would like to start tracking my stats. So if it was some kind of app, or if the website was at least usable from a phone, that'd be awesome, because I'd like to be able to just do everything right from my phone, because I was trying to do the Excel thing, and I love using Excel, but I had trouble just trying to remember everything, and as far as like exactly what I shot and stuff, I didn't keep good enough track of it. And I was trying to keep track of how many shells I shot a little different way than what you do. I knew how many shells were in a box, and then I would count them up afterwards to see how many I had, but I kind of got worn out on doing that.
Yeah. The shell belt definitely helps for that, because you have empty holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where I run into a problem is we don't count shooting birds on the water, and I've talked to people that do. I mean, when I say shooting on the water, I mean cripples.
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to remember how many cripples you've shot at, and it becomes very easy. But that app or the website should work on the phone. It should. We'll just have to see. And I'm going to tie it into Patreon. So, like, if you're at a certain level, that will be one of the perks that you get at a certain level, is that you'll have, access to the stat tracking website. So my guess is if you guys stick with Patreon, you probably get it for free, I imagine.
Cool.
All right, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. Someone wants to know about the boat. The boat, which I'm sure most of you guys know, we flipped it first hunt of the season in this area, and we never actually used it after that. And it is back and ready to go. We could have used it the last couple of weeks or so, but we just didn't have any situation arise in which that we wanted to use it. But it is back and ready to go and all good to go. So you'll be seeing the first time that it'll be back out is during fishing season. Another question was asking what species of fish I'm going to be targeting. Honestly, I am, in my fishing videos, I'm not that big of a fisherman, and I will fish for anything that I think can bite. We fish for crappie, we fish for catfish, we pond fish for bass. I would really actually like to get subscribers involved in the fishing videos, just because I'm not that knowledgeable about it. So for me to go out and do a fishing video where I'm like teaching people just isn't going to happen. It's just, I just try to capture how I feel. And that's kind of my goal of a fishing video, is just to capture how I'm feeling through some of the music I'm using and stuff. But I don't have a specific set of species that I'm going for.
Bass. I like bass.
I really like white bass, but we don't have that great of white bass lakes around here. That we're going to target one of the lakes around here for white bass. White bass fight like crazy.
They do for their size, man. I heard Milford was pretty good for white bass.
Oh yeah, wipers.
And yeah,
wipers.
And I went out to Cheney Lake last year with my brother, and we caught like 50 white bass. That was nuts. We were sitting on a school of them. All the other boats just kept going around us because it was our hole. It was every cast. We just bring one in the boat, throw it in the live well. We went home and had a fish fry.
I fished Milford once with a guy, my dad's friend, and he one of those guys that just below pro tour kind of fishermen, you know, where they're really good, but they don't do a lot of touring. And we went out there at Milford, and we're just hammering the wipers. I mean, oh man, they fight. It's so much fun.
Yeah, they fight, man. Like you catch a little like 12-inch wiper or white bass, and they fight like it's a freaking 5-pound largemouth.
Yeah. So Drake's got a question. How do you like your Versamax, Drake? Steve wants to know that.
Yeah, I'm still loving it. I have not had a single problem with it this whole year. There's not a whole lot that I would really change with it. It seems to cycle everything I throw at it. I think I only had one misfire, and I tracked that down to it being a bad shell. It was just like a bad primer or something like that. I'm not really sure exactly why it wouldn't fire, but it didn't. Other than that, I mean, it hasn't jammed on me once. It's been in the water quite a bit. I didn't clean it very much all season. I cleaned it a couple times after I went for some swims just to make sure that it didn't get rust inside, but I did not like thoroughly clean it. And it's all sitting right here behind me right now. And it's still got fouling and stuff all over the inside of it. And I'm going to finally go ahead and clean it. And I mean, this last week was a really, really tough week on it as far as just dragging it through stuff I had over my shoulder, trying to chase some ducks down and stuff. And it would just get scratched and set it down on the ground. And I looked at it and there was sand all inside it. And it just kept on firing. So
good gun.
I'm happy with it so far, especially being a gas gun. I was afraid, as cold as it got sometimes this year, that it was going to have some problems, but it kept on going through everything. So I'm happy with it. My buddy has a Versamax too. He doesn't have the exact same one that I have, but he has one that's very similar, and he's used it now 2 years. He hasn't had a single problem with his, and it'll cycle everything from the lightest dub loads all the way up to 3.5 inch, which I never shoot. But I wanted something that I could shoot for everything, and I know a couple buddies that have some of the Benellis, and they sometimes have trouble shooting dub loads out of them or fully cycling them.
What's the price tag on that gun of yours?
I think I paid $1,400 for it.
Yeah.
And it's like the top of the line one. So it's priced just below the Super Black Eagles, I believe, by I think $200 or $300 cheaper, if I remember right, because I was looking at a Benelli. And I ended up getting this one because I got it while Cabela's had a sale going on, so I also got it 10% off, and then Remington had a rebate for another $100 off, so I think I ended up getting $300 something off of it. So I was pretty excited about that. But it comes with some of the things that like the Benelli doesn't necessarily have. But you can get on the Benellis, but then you gotta like step up in price a little bit more on the Benellis as far as just like oversized controls and stuff. So I'm really happy with it. The biggest thing I like about it is the safety. It's so big on the thing. I'll see if I can. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It's not really going to focus because I have the autofocus off, but I mean, it's a huge safety and it's just so light to press it. So a couple times I got a little worried with it because I'll pick the gun up and hold it like this and my finger would just like click it off on accident, and I'd be sitting there like with the off safety. So that's kind of a problem. But other than that, I like having it being as big as it is, because I don't have to move my finger back to click it off. I can just like click it with the middle of my finger, and then my finger's already on the trigger.
Nice. When I switched from my Mossberg pump that had the safety on the top over to my Beretta with the safety in the same spot as yours, I had problems remembering to put the safety back on for a while for some reason.
Yeah, that's it. For me, that was one of those things that I just had to get used to. Like, I have a handgun. That's the only other gun I have. Well, I have my old shotgun, but and I have like 22. But I had shot a handgun for so long that, and it was a Glock, and there's no real safety on it. So I had to train myself to remember to click off the safety and then to click it back on. I had more trouble remembering to click the safety off than I did clicking it back on. I'd be sitting there and stuff would come in and I'd pull up and, dang it.
And then you see how much you jerk when you pull the trigger too.
Oh, I know, it's horribly.
Lunge forward. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
I want to hit this question. Jake from Florida is asking if there's any decent quail hunting in Kansas. Do either of you guys quail hunt at all?
I do not.
I used to. I went opening day. Was that 2 years ago? Up to north, like all the walk-ins northwest Kansas, and that's the only thing we shot in the walk-ins was quail. It's not bad though.
Yeah, they've made a huge comeback the last couple of years. They were almost people weren't hardly shooting them 4 years ago, and now I think they made a really nice population comeback in the last couple of years.
My uncles, they hunted a lot of pheasant, and they're running into quail a lot too. But I've never got into doing it. I'm not a big fan of just getting out there and walking through a field, especially since I don't have a dog for that. But it's definitely something I would like to try sometime, especially with somebody that does it all the time and has a pointer and stuff like that. Something that I think would maybe make it enjoyable walking through the field. But
Ducks and Bucks TV has a question, and Ducks and Bucks, I've been watching your videos, and I like your videos. I'm not sure how old those guys are, but there's some kind of bet or something that his mom has told him if he can get 500 subscribers that she's going to buy him some souped up camera or something. So if you guys
let me go over there real quick.
Yeah, go to Ducks and Bucks TV and subscribe to these guys, these two kids. And I'm not even sure what I really like about it. I don't know. I just find myself watching their videos and the way they interact and talk. I just find it really interesting. Guys, go over to Ducks and Bucks, you guys, and give them a bunch of subscribers, because this guy needs a nice camera. So anyway, he was asking about decoy spreads early season. And Drake, one thing I've noticed about your decoy spreads is, especially early in the season in your teal, I was noticing that the way you were setting up your decoys was very non-typical, but it looked extremely realistic. Do you have any kind of method to your madness there? Some of your early teal hunts weren't using many decoys, and they weren't set in any kind of pattern you would see, like set them this way and that way. They just looked good.
Yeah, I know our first teal hunt, it's probably hard to see the decoys, so I don't know if you're talking about that one. We kind of switch off on who sets out decoys, and it kind of depends on if Ryan's there. Ryan's kind of one of those guys that's kind of set in his ways of how he's done things, and I'm kind of like the new guy that does a lot of research about how other people set up decoys. So when he's not there, I'm kind of just testing things out in a way. So some of those may have been things like that. Usually I just run a J hook, but sometimes we just kind of throw them out in front of us and somewhat of just like a U shape or like a V shape to try and funnel them down towards us. And we pretty much ran the same size spread all year. And that was about 2 to 3 dozen decoys, depending sometimes whenever we would go out, and Ryan would go, he would bring his decoys too. And that on those hunts, I think we'd have 3 or 4 dozen. But
you know what I think it might be? I was the last hunt when I had all those hours, you just sit there and stare. I was looking at my decoy spread, and one thing I noticed I do, it's like every duck was placed like exactly the same distance from each other.
yeah.
And I think maybe in your spread, it's like you can do a J, but not still have every single decoy like exactly the same space away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and whenever we throw them out, we're not like, we try and set up a generic shape, but I don't really focus on like carrying out one duck and setting it in a certain spot like I know some guys do. Like they have like their set spot where each duck goes. Like the drake goes here, the hen goes here, the gadwall goes right here, the pintail goes right here. And it's like they know where each particular decoy goes, and where I don't do that. Whenever I grab them, with it being a Texas rig, I grab the loop, and then I just fling the decoy out to where I think it is, and I get the bright light out and I shine it over there, and I'm like, oop, looks pretty good. And so I just try and, I don't know, I'd try and run like a pod setup a lot. I don't know if a pod setup is the right word for it, but I would try and run like a big group, all kind of bunched up, and then just like a little arm off of it almost. So kind of like a J hook, but not necessarily a real defined like J. I would run just like a big blob here and then just a little bit kind of off the side. Because a lot of guys, you know, they run like a U shape, like, and it's like literally just like 2 decoys just alternated all the way across. And you don't really see ducks sitting like that too often. Usually there's a big blob of ducks. So I try and just mimic what I've seen ducks doing a lot, and that's just blobbing up. And we just try and keep the decoys close enough to where if they're landing anywhere, it's still a 20, 25-yard shot.
We're going to wrap this up pretty soon, but Clayton, I know in your last video you played with your decoy spreads and setups quite a bit until you found something that was working for you. Do you kind of want to go through a little bit kind of what you started with and how you were shifting them around?
At first, like if you saw like the island that was across where I ended up shooting the birds at, like I think what the deal was, they didn't like that narrow channel in between the main shoreline and the island. And I pretty much just, that day I just like threw 2 lines out, like basically like that on both sides of the island. And I mean, they weren't in, I do the same thing Drake does. I just kind of chuck them out there and I don't know, let them do whatever. But toward the end of or when I moved them onto the island, I just grabbed 6 decoys, all mallards at first, and I went over to the other side of the island and just threw them in a pod, like just all together right there in a little pod. And I don't know, the ducks seemed to like it a lot. I actually tried the hunt before that. I talked to the guide that we were on the goose hunt I went on with, and he said he has another guide buddy late season like this when the ducks are trying to like meet up and do their mating thing or whatever. He goes out with a single mallard hen and throws it out there. And I was like, a single mallard hen? He was like, yeah. And I asked, I was like, does it work? He was like, he shoots limits with it. And I was like, I don't know. I tried that the hunt before, and we didn't get anything. So
I think more than anything is where they want to land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found this year, like the mojos, like it didn't matter how I set up my decoys really. Like they were always directed by the mojos almost. And like at the beginning of the season, like I would always put my mojos like they were going to fly into the hole. And I noticed they kept landing behind the mojos. So like after a couple hunts of seeing that, I moved them to the other side of the decoys, and they would land right behind the mojos, or they would come down and hover by the mojo and cause me to shoot my mojo. But
yeah, they really seem to like mojos. And I read over and over that guys say if it's late season, pull your mojos. We tried it this year, didn't work. They still wanted the mojos from September all the way until January 29th. And almost every time they were wanting to land right on top of them. And we had a lot of trouble those first 3 hunts of this last week, getting birds to work exactly where we wanted them to, or using the decoys like we wanted. And we had to do the same thing. We played with decoys. One day I think I changed them 4 or 5 times. And another time Ryan was changing a bunch of them. And we eventually got to the point where we moved away, like I was saying, from the shape and just spread them out all over the place and didn't have a defined pocket or anything. And then they started working a lot better. So I don't know. Maybe they just got used to seeing the same J hook, U shape, V shape, and all that by flying around all these other guys. And I don't know. I don't know if it was that or if it was just that other guys left. And
I'm a firm believer in if the ducks aren't doing what you want, get out there and switch the decoys around, because there's sometimes you can find some little change that just for whatever reason makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my buddy Tori, he's the one that got me into hunting, but he does, like, he was pretty set in his ways, it seemed like, of wanting to set up, like, make sure the ducks are in a good J or a C or whatever. And I'd go out alone and I'd shoot a limit, and then he'd come out and be like, well, I think we should do like this. And I was like, who's shooting the limit? But we ended up changing it up, and he didn't like to move a whole lot. Like from, like, if we were over here and the ducks don't want, like when we were on that island, they didn't want to land in that little channel. And I was like, well, I think we should get up and move over line. And he was okay with that because it was only like a 30-yard walk through the water to get to the island and grab a couple of decoys. But like he didn't like to move a whole lot originally. He was set in his ways. And I like to go out there and change things up and see what they like.
Yeah, me too. Certainly. Well, we've been going about an hour and 12 minutes. Either you guys have any final thoughts before we close it out?
I don't think I have anything.
Nope.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys joining me again. Hopefully this won't be the last time that we can do one of these, and definitely we got to hunt together next year, because that would really, because I need to go shoot your ducks. But anyway, thanks a lot. And everyone that's been tuning in and chatting, thank you for joining us as well. And don't forget about our channels, because one more thing I want to say I just thought of. I don't know, it feels like to me that Kansas YouTubers are kind of at the forefront in waterfowling in kind of changing the style of waterfowl videos you see. And I mean, you got Kansas Fishermen, FDH, you guys, where we're all doing this vlog kind of format. And I just feel like that our state's kind of at the forefront of changing over from all that just kill montage to rock music crap that we had 4 years ago. And so it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. We got strong YouTubers coming out of this state, and we got to keep this thing going, I think, and spread the efficacy of it. You know what I mean? Doing it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because you never know. We can build a big enough a community. Maybe we can actually start changing the way things are done somewhat on public land.
I sure hope so. We had
That would be nice.
some bad ethic hunters this last week. There were about as many of them as there were ducks.
All right, well, that's it for today. Next week, we've got one more live stream. The whole FDH crew is going to be on. I'm going to try to work it to filter in some clips of some of the videos of my favorite moments from the season, and I'm really looking forward to that. So tune back in, guys, next week at 7 o'clock.
See you guys.